Welcome to the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast, presented by 13 Fishing Canada. Make your own luck. We're here to scratch that angling itch and talk everything fishing. Join us as we sit down with special guests from across the industry. Now, here's your hosts, Logan Lewis
and Jesse Cadrain.
Welcome back to another episode of the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast. I am down in Costa Rica, joined by my co-host Jesse Cadrain in Saskatchewan, and we got Jake Malolepsy back from BC for a Jake's Hot Takes episode. Jake usually holds back what he's thinking, never speaks his mind, so we wanted to get him on this episode so he could let the people know what he thinks. So we put a story out asking the listeners, and we came up with some of our own topics too, but kind of what's some hot topics, some hot takes in the fishing community right now. And we got quite a few responses to the story, so definitely pumped about that. We'll be getting to some of the listener ones and then some of our own later in the episode here. Quickly though, I'll ask these guys how they're doing once we get into the actual meat and potatoes of the episode here, but we want to talk about the sponsors quickly. As I'm wearing here, I'm down in Costa Rica. I've been doing some fishing with lots of the Rapala products. A big thanks to 13 Fishing being the presenting sponsor of the show. This is kind of different for us. First time that we've had a guest join us for the intro and outro here, I think. So I don't know if Jake has anything to add. He can do that if he wants to throughout there. But I think he did mention he's going to Mexico, some Crush City, heading down there for some of their baits. So you can head over to the Rapala Canada website, use the code Weekend Warriors, and save yourself 15% off the entire website. I think the Mavens were out of stock for a bit, but I think they're working on getting those back. If you're looking for extensions as well, those are back too. I haven't told Jesse that, so he might look a little surprised right now. I just got the email about that. So
okay,
head over to the website there, order some stuff, save yourself 50% off. Next up, Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation. You can see Jesse's background right now if you're listening or watching the show. He's got some antlers behind him, a pronghorn. I don't know if he wants to turn his phone to show the whole room there. It's pretty crazy, but that kind of goes hand in hand with the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation. So head over to the website, find your local branch, get your membership, get you access to the Saskatchewan-specific Outdoor Canada magazine, some insurances, access to land. I think that it also makes it so you can get into the Big Game Awards, right? You need to be a member?
Yeah, like to get accepted a plaque or acknowledged at the rewards night, you got to be a member of a wildlife federation. You can still get entered into like the Henry Kelsey record book, but you're classified as a non-member, and so you're not eligible for any awards and benefits like that.
Okay, cool. And if you think Jesse sounds different, he's not sick. He had some technical difficulties with the laptop today, so he's running it from his phone so we could get this one out on time. Lastly, new for this year, first time was last episode, but Lac Lamart Adventures, the lodge that all three of us have guided at, and Jesse still guides at, has come on for a sponsor for this year. All of us, obviously, have had some great experiences there, so if you're looking to get some of your own experiences there, you can head over to the website, find some dates that are available. I don't know if Jesse has any updates, anything recently. Last episode, you said there were some prime dates available.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if that June spot is still available. I imagine it would have gotten filled rather quickly, but I was talking to Zach Brown here about a week ago, and we still have a fair bit of openings the end of July, start of August, which can be some of the best lake trout fishing that time of year. I know, August 1st to the 7th, I believe we still had like 6 boats available. So if someone's looking for another date there and some crazy lake trout jigging bites, that's the time to be there to catch them jigging.
Oh yeah,
and live scoping. It's a heck of a good time.
Yeah. What time were you there guiding, Jake?
I think I was there. I think I started like August 14th or something. I was just there for the spawn.
Okay, that's as a guide and having not been there for the spawn, that's definitely what I want to go there for. I think lots of the American clientele it's more of a pike thing for the most part, right? The initial interest, but like the lake trout fishing there is not to be overlooked.
Insane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
That's crazy.
that spawn time looks just too much fun. Like to the point, like I would never have set down the rod and be like, I'm done. But like the numbers I've heard and the size that you guys like, that'd be a workout getting all that going.
Yeah, I think my first day there, I landed like a 24-pounder on a fly rod in 3 feet of water in lily pads. Like, it doesn't make any sense in Cabin Bay. Like, it makes no sense.
No.
And I was like, which one do I want to catch? There was 400 fish in the bay, and I'm like, that one looks the biggest. Bang!
Yeah.
It was crazy.
That was when we went to West River, wasn't it, Jake? We brought like fuel out there to get ready for the trip.
That was West. Yeah,
dude, that was nuts. I've never seen that bay so full of fish or so full of trout.
No, that was crazy.
That was nuts. They were
doing donuts in the middle of the bay, trying to wake the guys up, and then next thing you know, we're like, oh, there's like 400 fish in here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that'd be too much fun. But no, that'll kind of wrap things up here. Quick little intro. I think we hop right into some of our topics now. We're going to be talking about, I guess, our takes on some limits, styles of hooks, I don't know, number of lines, some live scope talk, some mapping, whatever. Going to be covering it all. And I think we start with the first one. Do we want it to just be live scope, or do we want it to be live scope versus mapping? What are we thinking here?
Oh man. I mean, like the live scope thing is such a huge debate on its own. I feel like we could talk about live scope versus mapping, and have plenty to talk just on that.
No, that works for me. Who submitted that one? That was a listener one.
Well, I know Scoobs had texted me directly, Colby Thalberger, and requested that we talk about it.
Yeah, and then I could be pronouncing this wrong, probably am, but Zach Efert as well. He mentioned lake mapping hurts fisheries more than forward-facing sonar as a question. Does it? So
I would say like we might lose some friends. We might gain some friends over what we're going to talk about in the next hour and a half here.
Oh, yeah.
Are we going to make each one of us have a hard stop yes or no to each answer? Or are you going to be allowed to
think we should.
talk in a circle?
Yay or nay?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can explain yourself, and your opinion can be changed by the end of the discussion. But
we should try to put a little time limit on each topic here, so we don't just
so
spend an
5
hour and a
minutes
half
per
talking
topic?
about 3 things.
We can try 5 minutes per topic, and if it seems too short, adjust on the fly. But
For sure.
This topic will be lake mapping has potential for more impact than live scope does on a fishery.
And you want me to start this, Logan? my stance?
What I'm actually going to do is have you do the first take, and then I'm just going to get rid of mine and Jake's in the editing process, so people only hear your take. You kick it off.
My honest opinion, I believe there's more potential with mapping to be detrimental to a fishery than live scope. That's my stance. If we're trying to go on a yes or no answer, I've thought about it for the last couple days, and that'd be it. Jay, before I dive into it, do you guys want to say what side of the fence you're on?
We might not disagree with you too. That's the thing.
That's a really hard one, actually.
Jake has to play devil's advocate. New rule. He always has to go against the grain.
Well, the thing is like with the mapping is such a broad spectrum compared to like a live scope. Like with a live scope, you've got what's your scan? Like I'm not a huge live. I don't own a live scope, but I know a bit about it. Like what's your scan? Like 100 feet?
Yeah, 100, 120.
If you're looking for fish, like if you're looking for structure, I've got 200.
If you're looking for fish and all that stuff, live scope, I mean, it's deadly. It looks insane. But for the vast majority of a mapping of a lake, that at the end of the day, that's the whole lake's worth. Like you can study that. You can look over that for hours and days and whatever. where live scope is like right there, right now.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you are gonna rip around the whole entire lake at 100 mile an hour from spot to spot to spot, live scoping everything, scanning, I would agree with Jesse that the mapping can be a lot more detrimental. But I also think it all depends on, there's a lot of things that it depends on.
Right. Yeah.
Seasonal, where the fish are, like weather, like it goes so deep.
Well, you, Logan.
I have to agree. I think with you guys, like I mean, the thing with mapping is it's so much simpler for someone when they have a map of the full lake. You can look at it weeks in advance of when you're going somewhere and you can eliminate water like that, right? Where like if say you like this is obviously those two in tandem are going to be very efficient, but if you only have one or the other, say for an ice fishing application, it's a bit different in open water. Like I've gone to lakes that I don't have any mapping and I put it 250 feet ahead and I'm in 80 feet and I'm scanning left to right looking for humps up to 20 feet. And that's how I've learned some lakes. So it worked for that. But if you're going with just one or the other, like the way you can break down a lake and set up on spots that should be holding fish when you have a full map, which is something that I think Jesse would kind of agree is somewhat different for us, say in Saskatchewan. I don't know for our Ontario or down the States, I think they have a lot more completed maps. And so it's not as foreign to be able to just go and look. Like with all the Angler's Edge stuff, I mean, it's awesome information that we get to look at now that was never really a thing unless you had done some of the social maps or you had mapped it yourself on your unit. You didn't really have that information before. Like the ability to go and look over a whole lake, it's so cool to see. And even just giving yourself an idea of here's a handful of spots I want to try on this outing, right? Like there's a map I think is pretty easy to figure out, especially when you look up. You could look up beforehand where should walleye be in December, and whether it's defining whatever breaks or some structure, whatever, you can find that kind of stuff on a map. With live scope,
it eliminates so much of the lake. Like you already know 90% of the lake isn't worth your time to go and check out because of the mapping.
True.
And I think with that too, you're not, I don't think I shouldn't use the word detrimental. I personally don't think either are totally detrimental. I think they're awesome resources to have. But with LiveScope, there's so many people that don't use it properly either, for the most part, right? Like, if you're, and ice fishing's harder. I can't say I haven't done it where I may as well have a flasher is like I'm not moving around, I'm not searching really. I've got the live scope in down mode and I'm sitting on that spot for the day, right? In that sense, it's not too much different than a flasher, right? You get some more distance side to side that you can see, but like I'm not actively using it to search for fish and whatever. It's just letting me know a little bit sooner when a fish is coming in, and then I can react accordingly. But like it takes a lot more to learn live scope and everything that way, in the way that you can be using it, that it's so efficient that people are now worried about it. But I think lots of people that do use it to that extent have a greater understanding of the fisheries and whatnot, and respect things that way too. So I think they're both awesome, but I think a map could be more useful to the average person than a live scope.
Well, and you got to look at the cost of that too, right? Like you said, to the average person, a $30, $40, $50 map is a hell of a lot more affordable than a $3,500 or $5,000 live scope bundle. And because of that, like you're getting a different audience just on a cost analysis of it. Like,
yeah, very true. Have you used live scope much, Jake, or just more seen it?
Just a little bit, just a couple times ice fishing.
Yeah. And so you haven't seen it in an open water application then?
No, I used it one time in open water. I mean, it's sick, but like I'm cool with just a flasher, like a cheap Garmin, $187.
Yeah.
Exactly. There's a fish. Okay.
Yeah.
No, that works. Well, that was pretty well 5-6 minutes.
That was pretty good.
But we didn't have anyone disagreeing So there's listeners that are probably disagreeing right now, punching their car console, listening to us talk about it. But
those are the people that can't afford LiveScope.
Exactly.
I remember when it first came out, I'm like, man, I'm never gonna have that. Like that is so, and it is a lot of money for it. But having it now, I'm like, and I'll admit, I don't know the efficiency way. I don't know how I used to fish without it. Like less.
I think
less
without
time.
it though, you get super. You do become like a really good angler because like you have to learn from what you have. Like even the last few days that I've been ice fishing, when I just had like the striker, and I'm just it would actually be so nice to be able to see like the weed line, especially for stock trout and stuff. Like I'm just punching holes and looking at depths, and like you can kind of tell there's weeds down there on the screen, but like, yeah,
you don't know for sure.
You don't know until you, and then you're down there trying to jig and trying to get it to go around the bottom and try and hook the weeds and like old school, like
you're looking down the hole,
looking down the hole, like
And I mean, as for that, you're still looking for the same stuff whether you had a live scope or if you're doing it manually, right? And I think that's one thing people always think about live scope is just finding the fish. Well, the way you can use it to find where the fish should be is another application for it, right?
Yeah. That's what you really should be looking for.
Because stock trout, especially on live scope, is pretty difficult, especially given the depth that you're at lots of the time too, right? So it's not necessarily finding the fish, you're finding where you want to be set up, and it's quicker than turning a brake line into Swiss cheese to find out where that transition is. You can just put one hole and see. So it is nice that way.
Yeah.
But if the lake was already mapped, you'd know exactly where you'd want to set up.
True. You might not know where the weed transition is, but
no, these lakes I used the topo on, just an old like 1987 topo, and that can only do so much. And same with the map, like on Google Earth, you can kind of see like weed lines if you zoom in. It works, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And like one more quick thing on the whole mapping and live scope thing is you think Logan, I think, had mentioned it briefly there, but just like the time invested it takes to get a lake mapped. I was looking on like the Angler's Edge, the Avenza Maps bundles, and they said they did 7,000 kilometers on Lake Diefenbaker to get the top north half of the lake done. 7,000 kilometers. You know how many days that would take the average angler to go out and have that well of a map? Like it would take you a lifetime. Well, it's a lifetime of weekends probably. Like
and that doesn't even include the computer hours on the back end too, converting all that, right?
Yeah.
So it's just not feasible from a one person perspective, right? But as soon as you can buy that map for, I think, what's the deep one, like $30-$40 or something, like
I think it was a little more. I thought it might be 60, but I can't quite remember.
It's like, what is this? I think it's 6 or 7 maps in one. That works out too, like the zones. So it's crazy that way. But no, I think that that covers that pretty good. It'll get more interesting when Jake and Jesse disagree with each other and then really get going at it. But I think that's a good one to cover off there. I mean, me and Jesse both use live scope. Jake's fishing is a little bit different, right? With the fly and whatnot. I don't know if I've seen much of unless it's on a lake. I guess I could see an application.
Yeah, if it's
there,
on a lake, it's the same. But most of the river stuff, I mean, I've started to see guys use it, but not for fly fishing. Yeah, there's like some of the guys in the OP put live scope on their drift boat, so they'll like pull into a run, pull off to the side, and then scan the whole run instead of just fishing it. And they're just like, oh no, keep moving. It's like,
which that could, I don't know, that almost seems a little different. But it's, I mean, I pull up to a point and I see nothing. I leave.
I think it's good for sure. Like as a guide, when you're trying to get your clients on fish, time effectiveness, especially if you're fishing for coho, for limits, whatever. It's sure it makes your life so much easier, but it takes the actual like pursuit and chase completely out of it.
No, that's fair. Well, what do we want to move on to next here? We've got, do we want to go hook selection, or do we want to go barb versus barbless?
You do barb versus barbless.
Okay, so this was Zach as well, and then I think we had one more from Logan as well, with barbless hooks. So for reference, me and Jesse being in Saskatchewan, certain bodies of water are barbless, but the province as a whole is not. Manitoba, obviously barbless. I don't think Alberta is probably similar in specific lakes maybe, but not. I haven't fished it for quite a few years. I don't know if it is barbless or not. I can't
No,
remember.
most lakes you can fish with barbs as far as lakes goes.
Okay. Is Cold Lake barbless?
I can't remember.
Yeah,
I
can't
don't
remember.
think so.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
I don't know why
though.
I thought it was, but
No, I think you can use barbs in Cold Lake. I've only
Okay.
fished it once, and I cannot remember.
and what's BC's prerogative here?
So all rivers and streams are barbless, and then also if you're fishing in the ocean for salmon, it's barbless. But lakes, unless otherwise stated, you can use barbs and trebles. And so actually, so for rivers and streams, it's single barbless, and same with on for salmon, it's single barbless. But if you're in a lake, unless otherwise specified, you can use barbs and trebles and stuff.
And isn't it a lot more convoluted with bait and stuff too?
Yeah, there's lots of bait regulations too. Like there's only a few rivers that allow like roe, for instance, or prawn or whatever. So no live bait that I can even remotely think of. And then even finfish, like any finfish, especially for lakes, no finfish bait. Like I think dew worms are okay, and like shrimp
Like
is
no
okay
frozen
on the
minnows?
lake. Nope, no frozen minnows. No, it says no finfish in the regs. So you can use mollusks or whatever. So like crustaceans. So like you can use like clams and shrimp and whatever.
Yeah,
But no finfish for bait.
Did not know.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Little side. I remember I looked at the rags one time when I was going there. Kind of thought about a little bit of a DIY, and I was like, "There's no way I do this legally. There's too much to understand. So
I can't use a jig and a minnow. I'm not doing this.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not much of a jig and a minnow guy. So Jesse is. I hardly ever seem to use one, but maybe that's why Jesse caught more walleye than me on our last trip there.
That's right.
One.
Just spanked you 2-0.
Oh, I thought you only caught one. Or did you catch two?
Oh, I might be. Well, oh yeah, I just one walleye and then 2 pike, I guess.
Yeah.
Crutched you anyway. Didn't stand a chance.
He's got the guides numbers. He always doubles it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you hit that clicker twice every time a fish is landed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I guess barbless, Jesse, barbless versus not.
I would love to see Saskatchewan go barbless. I'm sure almost everyone can understand why. It's safer for the fish, safer for us as anglers. There'd be less ER visits, if the province went barbless. Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't. And like to the guys that are saying, I want to catch and eat fish, well, just become a better angler. Learn how to keep pressure on the line. Like it's not that hard. You just go barbless. Like, yeah, I would love to see it.
Yeah. Jake? You're obviously fine
I would
with it,
agree. I definitely would agree. The thing with the barbless, and it's kind of like what Jesse says. I also fished barbless for the last 7 years since I've been in BC, and like as long as you know what you're doing, the majority of the fish you lose, it's not much of a difference. Ever since I started the Atlantic salmon guiding thing, when they use trebles and stuff in Norway and barbs, so not specifically just barbs, but even trebles and stuff, is like, depending on the fish, if you have a barb, sometimes fish have a pretty hard mouth, and I found that with a barbless hook, when you get it in there, it's in there. And it's in there good, where there's an argument to be said that if you're fishing with barbs, that if your hook set's not right or there's a hard mouth, even just having that barb, it doesn't penetrate as much. Now, it could be argued on both sides, like, oh, well, once it's in. But there are,
because it's
different
more
angles
surface,
on that.
It's more surface area to puncture through that hard mouth.
Exactly. Now, I mean, if you're doing a bass hook set, yanking on it like crazy, you're going to bury the hook. But that being said, like soft bites, whatever, like, I mean, yeah. So I definitely, for the safety of the fish, for the safety of us, the reason BC originally, under my understanding, did the single barbless was to actually protect the smolts and the par. So like the baby fish, because if you get a treble hook in one of those things, just trying to pull the treble hook out, you're killing that thing. I mean, when they're this big, you know, you're putting a lot of, and that did a lot of damage. So I'm pretty sure, under my understanding, is that's what they originated the barbless hook on. So I think, barbless would be definitely a good way to go.
Mm.
Maybe these aren't hot takes. I don't know. Maybe they're not. No, I'm the same way. I mean, if like in Saskatchewan right now, I don't go out of my way pinching my barbs. I guess if I'm pike fishing, I do. But if I've got like a jigging spoon and I'm fishing a walleye, I don't just, I don't know, I just toss it on. It almost feels like I'm not wasting money, but throwing away money when you get a brand new Rapala and I'm going to use it in Manitoba. I'm like, oh, here we go. But I mean, I think it's better. Like you said, less visits to the hospital with hooks being stuck. I mean, there's nothing nicer than when you catch a fish and you can just use your two fingers just to pull the hook out. There's no resistance.
Don't
nothing.
even touch it.
Yeah. And it's something I never really I don't think about, but thinking about it more now, it's probably something I'll just consistently do. It's just so much nicer that way. I mean, there could be something to be said for if you're running like a single hook, maybe with a leech or whatever, and maybe more chance of it getting off. But when especially say you're feeding a fish when you're lindy rigging or something, like if you're barbed as well and you're letting it swallow that thing, like that's not ideal, right? And or if you're thinking about when you're tip up fishing and how deep some of those hooks can get on a pike, there's nothing nicer than when you just have to pull that right back out and there's no barb catching on that really soft skin back there too. It's just nicer to see that way. People always say, oh, the fish are tough. It's like, that's great, but if just because they're tough doesn't mean that you should be treating them worse than maybe you could be too, right? So no, I agree there. I wouldn't, if Saskatchewan announced tomorrow that they were going to it, I wouldn't be upset. I don't have an issue that way with it. So
I think it's in most people's minds too. You know, like you said, you go to Manitoba, you pinch the barbs, you're like, oh, now this is a waste of money. But realistically, it's all up here.
Yes.
It's a huge mental thing. Mental thing. Yeah,
for sure. And I just know from like we big proponents of no guides, no bars when we were guiding, right? Like, can you imagine how? Well, one, if you want to catch more fish, you need more time in the water with the hook, which means less time unhooking. So there's a prime reason to do it there. But when you're having 100 and some pike days, that barb versus barbless is night and day. Like, it's money.
Yeah.
When I like get back from guiding and I gotta unhook a fish, like if I'm fishing with mom and dad or something, and I go to help them unhook a fish, I'm just like swearing at the lure because it's taking so long. I'm like, why are we using these?
Yeah.
No, for sure. And a single, like a jig head too versus treble. If you can convince the client, and it's not because you just think it's easier, it's literally, I find a jig head's hooking up way better than a treble lots of the time, and in my mind, just the way they could take it. But when you get to that barbless jig head, it's just like just money, like Jake said. Like it's just
so nice.
Yeah, the fish can do whatever they want with it, and that thing's coming. You're scooping it, popping it right back. It's like the fish didn't even know what happened, and the guy's casting again before the fish is even released. So it's nice that way. So I think that's all fair there. Anyone have any ending points there?
Like I will say, I'll kind of chirp my own self. I've been like, when I'm tip up pike fishing, I still kind of use barbs when I'm tip up pike fishing. I'm trying to get better with it. I'm trying to do less. But like 2-3 years ago, even though in the summertime I was all barbless, as soon as I went dead baiting for pike, still running one treble hook per bait, but I left the barbs on because I was like, I don't want these fish to get off. I mean, it is something I'm transitioning to and getting better with.
Yeah, you're not using three trebles like Scoobs.
That guy, but you can't even see his bait. It's just metal and treble hooks.
It's just scent on the hook.
Yeah, which I think this. I mean, we're all in agreement there, right? And like Jesse was saying, there's kind of the people that say, "Oh, I'm just going out to," because there's people that are the total opposite of what we do, with mostly catch and release, and it is going out there. I get my 4 walleye, I'm done, right? But if you're going out there and limiting out that quick anyways, like barbless, you're gonna get a fish in. Like, or it's gonna take you no time to realize, okay, I gotta change something up here with how I'm fighting this fish. And then you're gonna be getting your limit fine anyways. Like the biggest thing is I think about, there's some fisheries, especially down south, maybe you are only getting a handful of walleye boat side in a day, but you can head up north to some of these lakes. Like when I was at my fiance's lake, like it's 100 walleye, and do I really need to be barbed? No, especially I'm not keeping anything either.
No, you don't even want to be barbed taking 100 walleye off the hook.
No, exactly. So no, I get the harvest point of it, but it's also in lots of those situations, the fisheries are so great anyways, you're going to be just fine. So that's kind of where I am there, but I think that's kind of a pretty natural transition to hook selection. I don't know if that's what you were thinking there, Jesse, but hook selection, we're talking just dead baits for this probably, eh?
Yeah, we can just talk about dead bait. Yeah.
Is that what Scoos was on?
Yeah, because we're ice fishing right now, so we might as well talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was, Scoos was mentioning that, but then from Instagram, that was Mohawk 6mm that was saying pike hook selection for tip-ups. So they were talking about tip-ups specifically. May as well just keep the same order going here. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think it should be mandatory for us to use circle hooks. Like, I think if you want to keep using trebles, that's fine. So here's the thing.
He's getting heated. Here we go. It's getting hot.
Because, this is what I was talking with Colby like 2 hours ago, is I think that whether or not you have 1 treble or 2 trebles, even like 3's insane. I don't know really anyone that runs 3 trebles on any dead bait, but 1 or 2 treble, I feel like the thing that kills more fish other than barbs is just people's knowledge and like skill level of how they're handling the fish, how efficient they are at taking the hooks out, if they're ripping gills or pulling things, like, because they're just inexperienced and they're not, knowledge or not, I don't want to say knowledgeable, but they're just doing those practices wrong. So whether or not it's 1 treble or 2, I feel like the same amount of fish are probably going to get harmed. I mean, I run 2 trebles on big baits, and if I find I'm running 1 treble and they're just biting the head and they're dropping it a bunch, I'm going to run 2 trebles and I'm just going to set the hook earlier. And that's another thing that goes with like the knowledge of the fishermen. They know when to set the hook, or when, to let the fish eat it, how long's too long, all that sort of thing. I feel like just the angler's ability affects fisheries more in that sense than just an extra treble hook or 2.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I don't know if you get much in this, Jake.
Yeah, like when I used to tip up fish for pike, same thing. I just did the old 2 hook quick strike rig, and it kind of goes back to what Jess was saying. Like, it's all about like the angler's abilities and knowledge. Like, for someone who's been fishing for 10 years, your rig, where, you've caught how many fish, and you've caught how many fish in the back of the throat, or you caught them in the gills. So, if you're using 1 hook, you're going to let them eat it a little longer. You're probably safe if it's a big bait and you're using 1 hook. If you're using 2 hooks and it's not a huge bait, you're going to set the hook a lot faster. Yeah, it's the same. Like, I experimented with everything. I did like the single hook thing, this, circle hook. I did everything. And like, realistically, like, yeah, you want it, the same thing in the back of your mind. You're like, you don't want to lose this fish. You don't want to lose this fish. But at the same time, after how many pike, especially growing up when you're a kid, when you're just getting into it, how many pike are you going to rip the gills out of and go, oh yeah, he's swimming away. Now looking back at that, you realize like, okay, I've killed probably 30 pike.
Right.
Take it off my future limit. That's fine. But yeah, I 100% I agree.
Yeah. No. Well, yeah. And I find actually lots of my rigs were started off as the double. And just over time, whether I snipped one or whatever, lots of them are just single now too, and they've been debarbed slowly through the process of when I've needed to. And so I've basically, in a very indirect way, ended up with single trebles. But I mean, if you're talking about, like, say you're putting down a Cisco for a lake trout, maybe you can get away with, like, just by letting it eat more with the one treble. But if you're putting down like a 12-inch bait or something like that, you kind of, that's where I think two makes sense there. Like I said, I do run the single a lot. I have some doubles as well for pike. But I find, if anything, 90% of the time for me, I'm not even hooked up in that second hook with that fish anyways. It's pretty rare, like at the rare time where they're hooked up in both corners of their mouth. But otherwise, all that second hook is, it maybe helped with your percentage of hooking up with one or the other. But when it comes to landing that fish, I've either got the treble stuck at the bottom of the hole and I'm dealing with that mess, or now the pike is doing a death roll in the hole and I've got a treble spinning around with it, trying to catch my hand as I'm trying to get the pike. So it's just through a very indirect way, like I said, I've ended up to the single hook, because it's just, I find it easier that way. And like bait size, big thing. I used to run consistently mackerels, they were a pretty good size, and so I was more inclined to do the double, switching maybe to some of the smaller Cisco or some other random stuff I found at the Asian markets. Like, they're a bit smaller, more in that 6-inch range or 7-inch range, or a herring, if I can find those, like that kind of size, right? It's a bit easier to, in my mind, go with the single. So I think that's something to take into consideration too. Yeah. But like Jesse said at the top of the pod, I think you said at the top, I don't think it should be something that's mandated necessarily, as to what you can be using there. And lots of what people are using is just because it's for sale, right? If it wasn't for sale, they probably wouldn't even think about it for the most part, about using it. And there was a study done by Dr. Chris Summers that we've had on quite a few times from the University of Regina, and they did do a study on single, double, and triple setups. And I think they kept track of the number of flags, the number of hookups, the placement of the hooks, any damages, stuff like that. I think they also maybe did, can't remember if they tried circle hooks or not as well. And had a study on that. And I think that paper has been released now. And I think I remember we talked about it on one of the episodes. I should go back and listen, but I think the single was kind of the way to go anyways, as far as overall, which is good to hear too. But yeah, I've never tried the circle hooks myself. I've been interested in it, but haven't actually tried that myself. But yeah, the single or double's kind of always been the main go-to, and single now. So
yeah, I ran circle hooks one winter, like 2021 or 22, something like that. And I did really enjoy them, because when you do get a hook up, it's right in the corner of the mouth. It's so easy. You don't even need pliers 95% of the time. But the only problem that I didn't like, or the reason why I went back to trebles, is when you go fishing with a group of people, you got to explain to them how to set the hook on a circle hook. Yeah. And like how you just barely ease the tension in, and just a slight kind of pull, like you don't jerk, you don't rip. And a lot of people that I was fishing with weren't connecting on tip ups. So then, I feel bad because I'm just running these circle hooks and they're not catching anything. So then that's what I went back to the treble hook for.
Isn't that a crappy feeling when you've got like a specific way that this bait needs to present, or it needs to be fished, and then you've got someone who you're very happy to have them out with you, but they don't know that method as much. So you can be hooking up on it, but that's the method you're fishing, and it's quite difficult to do the other way. And then it's like, this kind of feels bad. That I think Jesse, you brought up a good point. I don't know if we were going to talk about this or if you had it in mind, but a hot take could be how someone approaches a tip up. Like, I think some people are walking up to it, letting it run for a long time, not hitting it till it stops, or they're only hitting it when it gets running, or they are sprinting to that as soon as the flag goes up. Right. Yeah. I think that's a pretty discussed topic when you're sitting out there waiting for flags. What do you do?
I mean, I'm not one to just go bolting after the flag when it pops, especially in shallow water, because I'm a firm believer that any noise on the ice, like you walking or running or driving, is going to spook fish and affect your day of fishing anyway. So I'm the one who's like gently walking up or two. If we're talking pike fishing on flag specifically, I mean, if I notice it right away, like if I visibly see the flag pop, I'll wait 20, 30 seconds. Make sure I grab a spare bait, and I got my spreaders and pliers and bump board, everything I need. Gingerly walk over there. And I never set the hook unless line's being taken, or at least like I feel like the fish is swimming away. That's just preference. Yeah, but like I think there's definitely a limit of you shouldn't sit there for 20, 30 minutes and let that flag and that fish just inhale the bait and swallow it. And then you can't even find your hook after that.
Yeah, but you're not everyone, all 5 people running to it and
I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah, like
I mean, if you're fishing with kids or someone who's new to fishing, then yeah, sure, like let them go nuts and trip each other and push each other over. Like that's fun. I love that. But if it's like me and some buddies, like, come on, boys, we don't need to race. Let's just take turns or something here. Like,
full contact. Yep.
Yeah. No, I think we're probably all similar to that. And I guess the big thing with that then, because I think, like I said, we'd all probably be similar to the way we approach that now. What's the hook set looking like? Because you see some videos online of how a tip-up hook set looks, and that varies as well. And to go with that, are you allowing that fish to play? Because some people don't either. Like it's just full on breaks on that line, and you're not letting anything go out. It's that fish is coming up. Like what's the situation there? How you setting, and are you what's your tension like?
Well, I mean, I feel like that's all just kind of personal preference. I don't see how either way could be bad for the fish. I mean, unless you're in deep water, but like you shouldn't be fishing in deep water anyway. If you're worried about bringing a fish up too fast, it'll have barotrauma. And then why are you fishing there? But as far as tip up fishing, I mean, I don't know. I didn't know there was different ways to set a tip up or to hook set a tip up. I mean, you got me questioning my whole existence
how do you
here.
set a hook on a tip up?
Yeah. I just, it's not like you see some and their hands down the hole and it's all the way up above their head kind of thing. Like just like a big yank, like a huge hook set, if you will.
All right. So when I take like inexperienced or new people out ice fishing, I tell them if you're kneeing down at the hole, you grab the line. If we're talking a regular tip up, like not a rod, not a iFish Pro or whatever, I tell them to grab the line in both hands. This is going to look really good on the video. Grab the line with both hands. Don't curl your wrist. Don't wrap the line because then you're going to get line cuts potentially if the line's thin.
Very specific.
Keep your hands like straight, horizontal to the hole, and I tell them to lift from your knees to your chest in a straight jerk, like kind of to the top of your eyes, and then just start handing it from there.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good distance.
Yeah.
I
knees
agree.
To chest, knees to
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, and I think people get cut once they start twisting their wrists and laying that line 90 degrees over their fingers. So that's why I tell people just to grip the line, 2 hands straight up in line with the hole and just pull straight up.
And I like to mention that too. You don't want to be wrapping. Like this is strong line. It's going to cut you before it breaks. So that's kind of a big thing. And yeah, I kind of, what Jake was asking there, I'm kind of more of like a pop, I guess would be a good adjective to describe my hook set lots of the time. And like Jesse said, situational. Sometimes that fish seems to be coming towards you or whatever, like things change, but yeah, it's kind of the pop, but I let him play quite a bit. Like I remember at the start when I started tip up fishing, some of my buddies, it was all gas and coming in, and that fish, if that fish wants to try and go back down, I'm like, they're stopping that line, and I'm like, hey, you're either pulling the hook out or just ripping your hands. So I was like, why? Like once you've got the hook set, why not let the fish play?
Could
right?
be ripping gills potentially too, right? If you're putting that kind of crazy force on them.
Yeah. No,
I would do the same too, but like it all depends on the size of the fish too. Like, and of course, if you're not an experienced angler, you don't really know yet. You know, everything on a tip up when you're pulling it by hand can feel pretty big. So you're just like, oh. But like if you know it's a snot rocket, I'm like running out of the hole. You know, just get it up, get it unhooked, and put it back down. But if it's a big fish, then yeah, definitely got to let it play for sure.
Yeah. So when you guys are walking up to a tip up, we'll say it's just your classic tip up. You can see the thing spinning. If that thing's burning, one, what size are you thinking it is? And two, what are you going to do? You get up there and it's just burning.
My mind thinks it's a spicy 34 to 38 inch pike. Like just a teenager, got full of gas and energy, and he's just grabbing it and mucking off with it at top speed. And
are you stopping it in its tracks?
If it's been ripping and if I pull it out and like my tip up out and I notice that like, holy crap, this fish has already taken 50 feet of line, I'm putting the brakes on him. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think it's a little bit smaller than what you said when I see that just spinning like that. I love when I go up and it's just a slow, just like tiny. Yeah. It's like that. It's like, okay, that's good. But yeah, if it's ripping like that, I find it's either if you're going to catch it, it's what Jesse said, around that size. Otherwise, it's even smaller. That's just like when I was using the mackerel, say like, oh, it's grabbed its tail and it's just like, oh my God, start the car, get me out of here, kind of thing. And it's gone.
I got the deal of the century here. We got to go.
Yeah. I don't know if Jake has anything different for that one.
I haven't tip up pike fished in years, but I do remember like that was always the thing. Like if you can see it spinning, I'm getting on it as fast as I can, because you, like you said, it's probably where I tip up pike fished. It was never like 38. It was like a 28, maybe a 30, you know, so you're like, okay, and that was a big pike for me when I was in Ontario where I grew up. So like that 30, 32 incher was a big pike. But now some of the other tip up fishing that I've done, and if I see it, like if you look up, some tip ups are different though too. You can't really see some of them, like you can barely see the spinner. Like sometimes, I mean, everything's different. It depends how close you are. But yeah, if it's peeling, I'm getting on it right away. I'm stopping it right away. But then if it's not peeling, same thing. Like if it's just barely moving or not moving at all, I'm like as soft as I possibly, like half the time I wouldn't even want to touch it unless I've seen it moving, because you don't want to add any like vibration or anything.
That's right.
That it could get spit. But like just like the slightest. And then yeah, same thing. If you feel like it's hard, especially if you're using a big bait. Like I mean, you could also get a little snot rocket that nailed it, and it's 4 inches bigger than the bait, and you know you're just feeling it and you feel weight. It can be pretty tricky, but when you know, you kind of
it's an internal battle. I'm sure every ice fisherman is gonna struggle with for the rest of our lives. Like we're never gonna be discontent in this. Oh, this is what I do. It works every time. Like no matter what you do, eventually something's gonna not work or go wrong.
And I know some guys run like an AquaView by their tip up too. You know, if it's not crazy far from the hut like that. I mean, if you know what it is, then your personal cadence can be completely different too.
Yeah, if you see him just coming and golf it, well then you know, hey, go set the hook. Or if he just grabbed it and swam away like by the front of his lips, you're probably going to give him some time. Yeah.
Like Jesse said, just 2 hands on it and just rip it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I think, I guess one thing to keep in mind too, we're speaking from our experiences. We're like, admittedly in the land of big pike too, right? We're not like lots of the fish, just because of where we are, that we're kind of like, oh, whatever, quick unhook back. That's a big fish if you had a couple hours south or something, right? Like it's kind of different that way too. So that's one thing to consider with what we're talking about here. And then like Jake said, that every tip up style is different and whatever too, so things can present differently. But yeah, it's knowing all your equipment too. Like none of us have the exact same we're not running the same 5 tip ups when we've got a group of people out, right? It's, oh, you picked up a couple of this kind, a couple of that kind. And so it's kind of just knowing. And another way that kind of what Jesse talked about, you're bringing someone out that doesn't know as much, or you're fishing a certain method, you kind of just got to explain it, each one.
100%.
And that is the nice thing. You can't explain it when we're walking up to it, right? When you're not just booking it there and grabbing it and getting into it. So that's a good thing. I like that you mentioned grabbing a bait before too. There's nothing worse than getting out there, setting, whether you catch the fish or not, and the bait's gone. You're like, oh, now I got to go back. Get all this line sitting out here freezing.
Me a minnow.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you mean, Logan? Are you saying you set tip ups out further than the legal required 25 meters from your?
No, I'm saying
base?
I'm saying I have short legs and the snow gets deep, and I just don't like walking.
For you, 25 meters is 100 yards.
Yeah.
It's a marathon.
I don't know the conversion, but yeah, that could be added to another one here. But we could switch things off of some of the more equipment for a bit. I'm gonna say this one and then go to the washroom quick. Scott Anderson says fishing is about luck more than skill.
Ooh.
I'll be back.
Ooh, as a guide, Jake, you've probably seen both ends of that spectrum.
100%.
Especially in the fly world, I feel like you probably deal with a lot of, well, I imagine bulkier clients are lacking on the skill and they kind of have to be lucky.
You better be lucky than good, bud.
You're right.
Yeah, 100%.
But then, so I was at whitetail camp this year, and guys are saying, "Oh, you just got to be lucky. You got to be like wait for the right one to come out." And then my boss was actually, "Well, you can be as lucky as you want, but if you're not good when you get lucky, the end result's going to be the same, and you ain't going to have no trophy to come home to." So that kind of gained a new perspective for me in that sense.
That is a really good perspective, actually.
Yeah.
You gotta have the skills for when the moments come, for sure. I mean, but hey, you could get lucky on the skills too.
This is true. And like, isn't I think luck by definition is, what do they say, when preparation meets skill or something like that is the definition of luck?
Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Okay, they're hockey coach.
I just got back. I didn't hear anything you were saying. I just heard the end of that. Yeah. So,
yeah.
I guess
I was just saying, notes? Logan, that you can be as lucky as you want or as lucky as you get, but if you don't have, you got to be good when you get lucky. Otherwise, the end result will be the same. You're not going to get that trophy. Yeah. In certain scenarios. I mean, like, I'm sure we've all seen and been involved in spots and fish where it's just like, there's no way that person should have landed that thing or like hooked into it. And it just happens. It's just like, wow. Like,
yeah. No, that's fair. I think you can't, you're naive if you think there's no luck involved. I think, like, say for instance, spring pike fishing when we're guiding and someone lands a 35 lake trout in one of the bays. That wasn't skill. That was luck that lake trout decided to be into that bay that you went to today. Like
100%.
There's no amount of skill that made that happen. Yeah. The things that led you to, okay, this one, I'm going to fish this bay. And just your skill and your eyesight of recognizing that fish there. Yeah. But you can't deny that there's always some luck involved, whether it's that 30-inch walleye decided to cruise along the break line that you set up on. The skill can be knowing where you want to set up, but that break line is large, and that fish is in the 8 inches of a hole that you have. There is.
Well, there's a line there too, and I was actually thinking about it yesterday because I was on such a grind yesterday on a new lake I never fished. And I literally tracked the entire lake, and it's like I probably drilled 50 to 75 holes. I walked probably 5 kilometers, and then the only fish that I ended up hammering the cutthroat, but was literally 50 feet from the dock at where I started. I didn't even think about a hole. And as cheesy as this is gonna sound, there's obviously luck, But some things are just meant to happen the way that they're going to happen. Like, think about that. You're like, okay, you do all this work and do all these things, and then all of a sudden you catch a fish. And like, you guys can probably all relate to it. Like, how a client, throws a hook out there and it's absolutely tangled, and they're like, spools messed up and round the boat and all this stuff. And then a 50-incher comes and hits it and they land it. Like, there's luck there, but like, also it's like, it's a weird line of like, it was going to happen. Like, it was meant to happen. Like, on Tuesday, I went and fished, or Wednesday, I went and fished a lake with my buddy. Same thing, new lake. Fished all day, caught a couple small bull trout and whatever. And then end of the day, right by the boat launch, same thing. He was rigging up, and he was using fluorocarbon and didn't like tighten it on the reel properly, and it all went to complete chaos. And I grabbed the line, just cut it, and just continued to jig it with my hand. And then we ended up catching the biggest bull trout of the day by hand in that last 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, it was meant to happen. Even though it's, it could be luck, but there's some little fine line there. Like, it's meant to, you grind it all day, and it's like the universe provides. Like, kind of like that. I know it sounds weird, but there's definitely something in line with that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's all just how you chalk it up, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, I when you pick this, you're going to fish these 4 spots, and 3 of them had fish on it. And you're like, I fished these spots because of this, because of this, because of that. And it's like, okay, yeah, that could be the skill involved, but also the luck involved could be that some things that you didn't even consider is what plays into the fish being there too, right? It's kind of, you can justify it that way. But no, I think that's a big thing. And then just from a guide's perspective, if it was all luck, and not that Scott was saying it's all luck or all skill, one way or the other, but if it was all luck, then guides wouldn't be a thing, and it would be, here's a boat, good luck, right? Like, it's just there's that too, right? And there's definitely, everyone's seen it that's been out fishing. There's some people that you're just like, this person just knows, or this person is just fishy, right? Like, it's there's that too, and that's obviously a skill thing. A couple of my buddies like to say they always have a horseshoe up my butt because I whatever, just get lucky with some of the stuff. I'm like, that could be, but I mean, some of it's the time you put into that people don't see or whatever, right? Like, and some of it's, you didn't see the other 5 trips that I caught nothing, and it was just due. It was time. It had to happen.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So
like, I feel like catching a big fish is a lot of luck. Like, the biggest fish of a tournament or biggest fish of the season, that's luck. I think consistency is skill. So you got the anglers that's going out and he's consistently catching nice fish, or he's just like not getting skunked a bunch, even though we all get skunked. That's skill. And then where the luck comes into play is that, 1 in 1,000 big fish of a lifetime. I mean, you weren't doing anything differently than you would have been, and that fish just happened to come by or bite and commit.
Yeah. Everybody can get lucky, but not everybody can be good.
Yeah. Well, prime example was Winston Stockdale, who's been on the pod. He was talking about, like, had an incredible run with tournaments this summer, and he was talking about up at Tobin, and should also go back to listen to this one to make sure I had it right. But basically, they were close to the lead there and decided to stop at one spot on the way back, caught the fish that basically ended up winning them that. And just getting that, like, it was pretty small separation in the standings there. So you getting a walleye that's a quarter or 3/4 of a pound heavier than another one, like that.
I lost him. Jake, can you hear him?
Yeah, that's Costa Rica for you.
He was really trying to flex on us at the start of the pod. He mentioned it twice.
Yeah, I'm sitting in the sun and I've got good Wi-Fi, and look at the background. It's not, AI. It's palm trees.
Doing some fishing in Costa Rica. Big Costa Rica guy.
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm back.
Oh.
There he is.
Yeah, how's that Wi-Fi down there, buddy?
Good. Costa Rican Wi-Fi. We still got power, so we're good. We're good. But I don't know if you heard what I was basically saying. The luck comes in the fact that fish was 3/4 of a pound more or a half a pound more. That was enough to put you over the edge, right? So I think it's.
I'm trying to remember that podcast you did with him. It was some like fluke basically why they decided to stop there too. Like it was just kind of like, let's just check it out, wasn't it? And then they ended up catching the tournament winning fish there, right? I'm sure is
Like a
how
feeling,
it played down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't totally remember to say one way or the other for sure, but yeah, it was definitely stopping on the way back, and I can't remember if it was a spot that had been good that had gone dry or what it was, but he's probably shaking his head right now listening. But yeah, just kind of.
I think we can all agree though. We've all had that feeling where you're just like, it's like an intuition. You know, you're like, oh, I just feel like I gotta try this on the way back. And a lot of the times it's just like, what a stupid idea. But there are those times where it's just like, why did I just, and I catch myself doing it, like, especially like fishing in a river, like going through a run or something, and then just be like, something's really pulling me back. I don't know, whatever your belief system is, it's like, something's pulling me back here. And you go back and it's just like, bang, that complete, like, there's definitely something.
Yeah, and not to draw this one out, but I totally agree. Like last fall we were out hunting. I was out basically every Saturday, Sunday from August, September, October. We get into November, and just one day, my buddy, I picked him up, and he got in the truck. I was like, today feels different. Like today's a business trip. Like something's different today, and sure enough, tagged out that day, and I was like. I don't know what was different about today, and he said, it's funny you say that because I felt the same, like just today seems different. And I didn't tag out. He got a very nice, it was like a 168 whitetail or something. And I missed out on, it was a smaller one, but we were rattling it in, and it was, it had some weird stickers on it and everything, just kind of a unique deer. And I was going to be happy with that. And so it was like, today was just totally different than the other day. So like you said, Jake, it's just kind of like something's different here. And
totally.
A little tingle.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a little tingle.
For sure. Yeah. Well, what do we got next year?
I would like to ask, let's maybe go, do I want to go like a fly route or go back to ice fishing?
We could go fly.
Go fly?
Yeah, we could do the fly one.
Since we got a fly master in the podcast room here, we got a certified fly lord, right, Jake?
Certified fly lord, oh boy.
No, I mean, I think it'd be cool to debate or talk about what's considered a fly. I'm sure we have a lot of listeners that aren't well adversed into the fly realm, and I'm not even sure. Is that a hot topic, or it kind of depends on areas?
I would say it depends on areas, but I definitely think if you're a fly fisherman, you've definitely heard that saying, that's not a fly. That's not considered a fly. So to start this one, I think the best and most common one is the whole inclination of bead fishing under an indicator. So at the end of the day, this is a, it'll be cool to see your guys' take on it, because you guys are like predominantly gear guys. Like, yeah, I know you both would probably fly fish, but like you'll have like a non-biased opinion.
Yeah, we're not better than everyone else.
Whatever. But so the thing about it is, and predominantly it's in Alaska, but here in BC people do it too, and people in Ontario do it for the resident rainbow. People do it everywhere. Fishing a plastic bead under an indicator and calling it fly fishing because they're using a fly rod. So just by the basis of that, would you consider that fly fishing?
No.
Like no? Okay.
No, because you might as well just be tossing a freaking like lead jig head. Like there's not really a huge difference there in my opinion. Like a bead.
I think there's a bit of a difference there.
Yeah, I feel like I could cast a bead and a bobber on a spinning setup.
That's what it's for.
But you could cast a bobber and a fly on a spinning setup too.
True.
Yes, which people do for sure.
So then what's that?
That's a gray area.
Right, like is that, I don't consider that fly fishing because you're using a spin setup. I consider fly fishing, I guess I guess I would fall under, I think it's You're not fishing
The
a
art
fly, but you
form.
are fly fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the art form, the casting, the line, the rod type, yeah, for sure. For sure.
The bead thing. So if you were to, let's use the bead specific scenario, Jake.
Mm-hmm.
What is another method that you could use to catch those fish with a pure fly, or just another option that, like,
So
would they bite, or because it's just
yeah.
a bead is just simulating an egg.
So
An
what
egg,
if they
right?
what if they tied a fuzzy little ball with some pipe cleaner?
That's where this
I
whole
think
line
that's
of
different.
considered a fly. No, but that technically would be considered a fly because you created that out of material
Mhm.
that's not like now.
Wait, if you poured the bead yourself, if you made the bead,
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
You
if
might
you
as well
took
be using
nail
a lead
polish
jig
and
head.
painted the bead, no,
no, you poured
that's
it.
where
Your dad owns a
there's
bead factory, and he made the bead.
that's where it's that like fine line, right? That's where it's a real big debate. But yeah, you can use a yarny, which is literally just yarn spun on a hook that looks exactly like a bead. So that's more fly. Now I don't know how specific you can get it. This is the thing. You can get it in so specific on like what consider a fly.
Mhm.
Where a bead is plastic, you buy them in a bag, you put a peg and you put a hook below it. Where if you use a fly, which would be i.e. a yarny that you tied on your vise, that's all, craft material. Some people put beads in flies, so there's, I'm kind of contradicting myself on this, but that's a big age old question, is like what considers a fly. So to take it into another step, there's also people that fish what we call Dick Knights, which is a tiny spoon, tiny silver spoon, like a flutter spoon. Basically, they come in different sizes, but people put that on a spey rod and swing that through the run instead of a fly, and it works like crazy.
It'd
So
be like a map spinner basically on a spay rod.
basically, right?
See, I
So
don't
then
like
it's not
that. I don't like
then
that.
you're not really considering it fly fishing. You're considered. I mean, yeah, you're using a spey rod and all this stuff, but then you got a spoon on the end of your spey rod on your fly rod. So then, are you fly fishing, or what's the deal?
Yeah, no, that's not fly fishing.
So
I don't think.
if you have a fly rod on a downrigger trolling for lake trout with a fly, is that fly fishing?
Yeah, technically, if you're still using
Okay.
fly line. See, it's a deep debate, man. Like,
I know how you can fix this. What'd you call those things? Yarnies?
yarnies.
So you just have to have an unlimited supply of yarnies, and every time you see someone using a bead, just say, "Here, use this." Now you're fly fishing.
Yeah.
If you can convince them, I guess.
Basically.
So I had heard on a different podcast, because they were kind of on this debate as well, and they had said, by definition, what makes a fly is that it is unable to be casted under its own weight, not including water weight. So like its dry self.
Yes.
If it can be casted and fished on its own, it is not considered a fly.
I would agree.
Now, can you cast these beads? I think for the fact that it wasn't, I don't think you could say that you're fishing with a fly. I think you could say you're fly fishing because of the rod, because of your setup. But I don't think you could say you're fishing with a fly.
Yeah, like
I'm
fishing,
fly fishing with a bead.
or like with artificial or some other term, I guess. Not artificial, but
flies are artificial.
Yeah.
You don't go to your house and catch them flying around and then tie their legs up and then put them on a hook. You got to create them.
Jake's saying that wouldn't be fly fishing either. Do people fly fish with bait?
So here's another
San
story.
Juan worms, but real worms.
That's a thing too. But I've heard lots of people, especially when you're like, say, tying flies. People are like, tying flies? What do you mean? And there's a good meme on it where it was like a house fly, hog tied by all legs, sitting on the table, and a guy behind him going like this. Yep, just tying flies. And like, because if people don't know it, you're just like, yeah, I'm tying flies. People are like, what the heck you mean you're tying flies? Right? But I used to work, talking about this using like live whatever. I used to work with a guy when I worked at Sale like 10 years ago when it first opened. And he was a fly fisherman, but he was a little bit different. So what he used to do, he didn't tie flies, he didn't make his own. He would go to the creek, he would take his small hooks, and he would take AB super glue. He would use a net to catch crickets or bugs or whatever, zap-a-gap them on his hook, and throw them out, and that's how he used to catch his trout.
Wow,
that's almost more pure than fly fishing. That's one-time use.
Yeah, that's like, it's more primitive, I guess.
Yeah.
You're hunting and fishing at the same time.
You're just working up the food scale there, or up the food pyramid. That's cool.
Yeah.
Bait fishing, really.
Yeah.
So what's the, before we move on to the next one, what is your yes or no? Hard stop, yes or no?
I think if it's something you created on a vise out of materials to match something, and it's not like rubber, plastic. I mean, aspects of flies can be rubber and plastic, but like if it's not just a 5-inch swim bait or a bead or a spoon or whatever, then you could consider it a fly for sure.
So if someone only ever fished beads, would they be a fly fisherman?
You're not a fly fisherman.
No.
You're greasy.
You're just a dirty angler like the rest of us.
Hands down, putting a bead under an indicator or a pink worm under an indicator with a fly rod does not make you a fly fisherman. Okay. Period.
Even if they're doing all the same setup, casts,
I
whatever.
don't care.
What if they can cast really well?
If you stoop, if you can cast really well and you stoop that low, you get your card revoked. You're not a fly fisherman. Yeah, no way. Oh, that's my opinion on it. Hands down.
I like it.
Okay, I'd say you're a fly fisherman, and you get a little asterisk who fishes beads. You're a fly fisherman who fishes beads.
Yeah, you're just greasy. Just greasy.
Is it because it works so well?
It works unbelievable. Like, man, especially here in BC. This is where Jesse's gonna laugh because it's a purist thing. But like, I've never caught a steelhead on a bead out here. I did the whole center pin thing when I lived in Ontario, and you can annihilate fish on beads. It's so effective. But I've seen it here where I fished through a run, and I have friends that center pin fish and bead fish and all that stuff. And whatever, hey, if it floats your boat, floats your boat. And I've watched guys fish through. I fished through a run with a fly, and I would consider myself a fairly competent, steelhead or fly fisherman. I'm pretty confident that I go through, and if there's a fish in there, I should, at least get it to react. I'll go through a run, nothing. I'll go stand up on the bank, watch Buddy put a float through there with a bead, and you watch like 3 fish follow that bead through the pool like the entire length. I've seen them swim 100 feet to come and grab a bead. It's the thing about a bead is it also, I would say, attracts like their aggression to a certain level because it's almost like it's not their offspray, so it's like a competition. Like it really brings out like the competitive like fight or flight, like, that's not mine. I want my family to rule. Kind of is easier terms to put it, right? So yeah. Plus anything dead drifted, in my opinion, when you're fishing for like steelhead, Atlantic salmon, or anything dead drifted, if you get it right in front of them, they don't got to move 20 feet for it like a swung fly coming past them. They just got to open their mouth and, they're siphoning through stuff all day. They pick up everything because they don't have hands. They even if they don't know what it is, they use their mouth. So for them to hit a bead that's drifting right by their face by the inch, where a fly, even if you get that fly swung across their face right on their nose, it's still moving continuously. So they have to expend that much more energy. So yeah.
So your main issue is the indicator setup too with it then.
Yeah, I don't.
Kind of double hater over here.
Yeah.
So have you caught?
That's just personally.
Hey, yeah, no,
No, you speak for all fly fishermen. Have you caught a fish on a yarny in BC?
Nope.
Okay,
I've never used an indicator out here. I don't nymph.
No indicators at all.
No indicators, no. Not out here. When I first started fishing, when I first started fly fishing back in Ontario, for somebody getting into it, it's a really good way. Once you can get, consistent with nymphing, and you catch a lot of fish nymphing, right? Because it's dead drifted, they don't have to move for it. But once you kind of evolve to the two-handed fly fishing where you're swinging flies, and it's definitely a more of a purist thing. It's more challenging. You're not going to catch 25 fish. You're going to catch that one fish on the grab. It's the pursuit more than just the go out there and catch 25 fish.
So if our friend Fishy was just down for cutthroat in the States.
Pyramid.
Whoa, spot burning. If you...
spot.
It's not very burned.
No. Is that considered fly fishing? Because from what I've seen, it's indicators, and then you sit out there.
You're still using a fly rod and an indicator, but that's just how they use it to present the chironomid.
So if you went down there, what would you do? That?
I would probably be fishing beetles on the surface or stripping streamers.
Well, you'd be working hard.
If it was absolutely end of the day and I traveled that whole way to catch a fish, you'd probably see me put an indicator on it.
Right. I'd take a picture and post it on social media.
And then put a streamer in its mouth and then pose with the streamer and say, "Yeah, I got it on a streamer."
Yeah. Well, that's fair. Well, that was probably the most hot topic one. It was a fly one.
That was good.
Oh, it was good. What else?
I was going to ask Logan, do you want to rip through a bunch of the viewer listener questions and just try? We can just give short answers. Don't have to explain too much. How many do we got left there? Just so
There's
we can.
A lot.
Just to get through them, and I'm sure most of them we can make just kind of quick yes and no's too, and then maybe finish with lines per angler or some other topic. Dive deeper into.
I think so. There's a couple here. There's I think there's two to finish with. Might want to finish with Darian, not finish, but a bit more topic on Darian's with the tournament fishing with live scope. But yeah, and then finish, I think, with the lines one. But yeah, we'll rip through some of these quick. We basically got through the one page here. So it's quick yes or no, maybe a 1-sentence explanation if you feel so inclined, and go from there. Matt had one here. He says, talks about fishing too deep and not understanding the effects of barrow trauma and mortality rates. I think we're all pretty unanimous on that one. And lots proven on that. Past guest, friend of all of ours, Zach, had quite a few here. What is the best oil to fry fish in?
Ooh.
Tender flake lard, baby.
Tender flake,
agreed.
Yeah. We switched to the was it shortening or something the one year?
Shortening oil.
Sucked. Zach likes that. What did Zach like? That yellow?
Pure pressed canola oil. So farm pressed canola oil with no additives, no processing or anything. That's what he really liked. He big health guy. It was good. It did tinge the fish and batter a darker color. It was kind of odd, but it was tasty. It was okay.
I like that peanut oil too. Peanut oil is pretty good.
Well, I haven't tried that.
A little flavor to it, I guess, too.
Okay. What else? There's so many from Zach here. How thick of ice should you drive on? The things usually say 12 to 14, I think, right? All those graphics, but I'm usually not driving until 20 something. Because I just always think, it's 20 here, but where is it not? Or
right.
It's 12 here, where is it not? He just says drive on. No method of transportation mentioned.
I feel safe with 15 inches. I'm pretty.
If it's all 15.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, depending on what kind of ice it is, I'd have to agree. 14 to 16 probably.
Here's when it comes to fish, and you're looking at a fish, and you say that fish is fat or that fish is thick. At what, say we'll talk for a pike, at what point do you cross that line of this is a good fish to this fish is fat? When is a fish obese? At what point
does it become obese?
Yeah. If this fish is 40.
This is another Zach question, isn't it?
This is a Zach question.
It's a version of his question. Yeah.
Are we doing weight or length, or what's the deal here?
If this fish is 42-inch pike, at what
What weight would it be considered fat?
Yeah.
Maybe if its girth,
Like
if its girth is larger than half its length.
Yeah, I was gonna agree.
Okay. I've never
I
really
think that'd
taken
be
a
like a
girth.
decent ratio.
If it's like 20 plus inches around, then it's pretty fat.
Yeah.
Regardless of its length, to be honest.
It's true.
If you're gonna say it's a 42-inch fish, you're gonna say that's 20 pounds on average. So
16 to 20.
Yeah.
So
I'd
then
say 18, yeah.
Yeah, so then kind of like if you're talking weight wise, I guess when it's getting into that 24, 25.
That would be insane.
I had this one fish my first year guiding, I'll never forget it. It was 43 inches long by 27 and a quarter around girth.
Holy
it was
crap.
I have a picture of it on my Facebook. Like it was and I was like first year guiding, right? 17 years old, like
Yeah.
holding this absolute slob. And you know how everyone's like, oh, you got to hide the hands. You couldn't hold that fish without hiding your hands. Like it was monsters. And it was 27 pounds.
Wow.
It was.
That's amazing. That's obese. That
was obese. I'll try to find the picture and send it to you guys.
That's a top 1% fish.
There you go. This one's, I think, for Jesse specifically, from Zach again. We're pretty well through the Zach ones here. What's considered a nip and what's considered a shot?
If I was to get technical about it, Zach, a nip is a celebratory event. So after a fish, after an animal, that's a nip. A shot is when you're just doing it because you just are, you want to drink.
Should we have
That's
a shot?
Please?
Yeah, a shot.
Yeah.
Oh, nice fish. Yeah, time for a nip. Yep,
exactly.
Time for a nip.
There's also a difference too. Or most of your nips are like the sampler size.
True. Yeah,
too,
my
right?
nips are 2 ounces.
Wow, you got some
doubles.
Heavy nips.
Oh yeah, big nip.
It's a double. Okay. Okay. Well, there you go. That's fair. I figured the celebratory thing was part of it, but I didn't realize that those were 2 ounce ones too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why you can't be doing this all willy nilly.
Sorry, say again.
That's why you can't be doing them all willy nilly because they're 2 ounces.
Yeah. If I did them, every hour, I'd be hammered out there.
Well, that's why you don't get too drunk because you do them every fish.
Yeah. Jesse celebrates
I
after
know my
fish.
limits, okay?
Yes, we finally caught one. Time for a nip. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair. What else we got here? Samantha Stewart, your colleague there at Lac Lamar. How close is too close for ice fishing when fishing to others? I think this is somewhat spot/lake dependent, but what's your guys' quick answers in a general rule of thumb?
50 yards, 50 meters. That's if you're closer than that, is too close.
So like the people that were set up by us when we woke up the one morning.
They were pushing it. They were right on my edge for sure.
If I could smell your cigarette, I think you're too close.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have an issue with that. I didn't care, but I agree. I could almost say within earshot.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're on
a big lake and you can hear people like a kilometer away, no problem. Yeah. It's kind of scary.
It is.
Like, who's set up beside us? You look out and you're like way over there.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, and I think like if you're setting up on some structure or something, then that's, I guess, a little bit different. You don't own the point or don't own that break.
Yeah, but you got there first.
Right.
True.
But then, like, you could also, if a guy's fishing a rock pile or a point that, like, you were really wanting to fish, you could just walk up to him and be like, hey, man, how's it going? Do you mind if I fish this same structure? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I feel like that's a more proper way to approach it than just set up right beside him.
And I think if you offer him a nip, he'll probably say yeah.
Nips always help, yeah. Well, I guess at that point it'd be a shot. It'd be, hey, man, you want a shot?
Yeah.
But after you secured permission, then it's a nip.
Then it's time for a nip. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like I've had it at Last Mountain too, where I've had the tent set up, but I'm not fishing outside at that point. I've got my 2 lines inside, and I've had a group of 4 in a circle around me, and I'm like, really? Like the fish will not see, like at least give a fish maybe some path to get to me without seeing you. Like that's one thing too. But yeah, no, that's good there. Walleye versus pickerel. I think this is just an age thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know many people our age that call them that unless they just don't know yet. Especially if like their grandpa or something were taking them out, especially more of a northern thing too.
Yeah.
But for here in Saskatchewan, people where they actually have like chain pickerel might be somewhat confused about this conversation right now. But for here, it's walleye, in my opinion. But
yeah,
I don't care if someone calls them a pickerel.
No, and actually, I won a case of beer off this whole debate back in the day. Yeah, a guy was fishing down at the Payton Ferry on the river, and he's like, "My wife's a taxidermist, and she orders pickerel mounts to mount the skin on." And I'm like, "And it's for a walleye?" He goes, "Yeah, it's pickerel walleye, same thing, guaranteed." I'm like, "Man, I bet you a case of beer that they are two totally different things." And he agreed on it because we didn't have cell service down in the river valley, and he agreed. We shook hands, and I'm like, "Yeah." Well, as soon as you get up that hill, you Google what the difference is, and sure enough, he texts me back. He's like, "You're right. What kind of beer do you drink?"
Yeah. You said Canadian Club.
Any beer, as long as it's a whiskey.
Yeah.
I guess quickly, Logan also had here, we'll say catch photo release tournaments. Are they a thing of the future or something to run parallel to typical tournaments?
Oh, I think they should be the way of the future. Like catch photo release, it's way less interference, or like what's not interference, but way more meddling with the fish. You don't have to beat them around in a live well for 6 hours, and yeah, I think that's just should be the way.
It's more fish friendly.
Yeah.
I think the whole, if you watch Tour Level Gold, the whole thing of all the boats coming back with the fish and all the people there, that's a pretty cool aspect of it, and an important aspect as far as the sponsors go and all that other stuff. And I guess money talks with lots of that stuff. But I think as far as for the vast majority of tournaments, I think like, what was it? The premiers here in Saskatchewan, I believe, went to that this year or last. I think it's a lot better for the fish. It kind of could get you around some of the rules too in different places where you can't call any fish, right? Like you got to decide. Lots of that tour level stuff is I got to decide, am I putting this 18-incher back or whatever, right? Like, am I putting it back or is this gonna go towards it because I can't sub it out later? That could get you around some of that too. I mean, that is part of the luck, I guess, too, if you want to say with that. They're kind of talking about luck versus skill too. Is you don't know if you're catching another 18-incher or a 19-incher or a 17-incher, right? So kind of deciding there and game planning. So that's a whole nother side of it. But I think with the way tournaments are set up too, and your two big fish here in Saskatchewan, for lots of them, your two big fish and then your slot fish, I think that already kind of plays into getting rid of just the big fish mattering. Or I don't know if that even sounded right, but if that makes sense, like that kind of gets away from just the big fish being the most important, and then you also got to do a bit of the gamemanship too, getting those slot fish too. So I think that's kind of a cool thing there. Yeah. But I don't know if you have much experience tournament wise, Jake. But
I'm not a tournament guy.
I feel like our opinions might be a little different too if we grew up around like heavy bass culture where there was serious competition and money around these tournaments. Like I might think differently, but.
And I don't know, is bass different? Like I view bass lakes differently than lots of the walleye lakes. Like I don't know, are you hammering around all over the place? I know I've seen some where they have weather delays and whatnot, but admittedly I don't know as much with the bass scene. Lots of those lakes, maybe if they're smaller, you're not absolutely hammering those fish around. Maybe the bass are more hardy than a walleye too.
I definitely would say bass are more hardy than a walleye for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so that could be part of it too. And
that's, I mean, I could be wrong, but I would say
I know there's sometimes deeper too, but majority of the time probably coming out of shallower water too, which makes a difference being in the live well. I don't know. There's lots that could go into that, but that's just speaking on stuff I'm not sure about. But yeah, no, I think it's something that definitely will stick around in the future. I don't think catch photo is going to go away. March Madness tournament coming up here soon as well. But Yeah, no, I think it's something good. I think it's a positive for the fishing community. And I don't know if you'll ever get rid of weigh-in ones either, which I don't think is a terrible thing. But yeah.
Well, there's the whole celebration at the end, right? Like that's been a thing forever. Like, you know, how many people show up for the official weigh-in? I mean, they drive the guy's boat into the stadium with the bass. Like that's been a thing forever, right? So
which is part of the entertainment of it all, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna change that. So that's good there. And then last for a quick one before we get into the very last two that I'll spend a bit more time on. Shayna Hamilton saying, social, like with all the influencing going on in the fishing scene stuff, social media figures in fishing should be held to a higher standard due to their influence, especially people that maybe don't get out as much or are newer to it. They're watching these videos. Do you think they should be held to a higher standard?
You start this one, Logan.
I think, I don't know if higher standard is the right term, but you got to consider what you're putting out there, especially if you're taking an educational standpoint on what you're putting out there. Like if you're saying, here's what you should be doing if you're doing that, then you got to consider maybe some of the unintended consequences of the content you're putting out too. Like you kind of, if you're like when we did the burbot episode, like I always say, once you know where the burbot are, they're not difficult. So we preface that episode with like the thing about the limits. And even though the limit in Saskatchewan, I think is 8, you probably maybe shouldn't consider taking 8. I don't know. Like we kind of prefaced it with, this is the information we're putting out right now on how to help you catch burbot more effectively or find where they are or whatever. But with this knowledge, make sure that you consider these things, right?
Right.
That was kind of something there, but it's so hard to, it's so easy to look from the outside looking in, right? But when you're in that, it's difficult to know for sure what someone might do with that information too. I don't know, but I think it's just, you got to be considerate of what you're putting out there and whatnot, and consider that for sure.
Yeah. And I feel like most fishing influencers out there do a very good job at promoting the proper ethics and
especially handling
and practices in the industry, and which they should, because I mean, if they're reaching 50,000 or 250,000 viewers or subscribers, whatever, they have a huge reach.
Yeah.
The only way to like save our future of fishing is that if people starting or getting into fishing all think on the same, not on the same page, but have the same ability and like work together, and we're doing it for the fish. I mean, but I feel like most social influencers are doing a fine job. I don't know if they should be held on a higher pedestal, but like they shouldn't have pressure put on them for that, because they're just a person out trying to have a good time too. I don't know.
But consider what you're putting out there. Like, especially, I think if you're taking the educational standpoint, if you're just showing yourself fishing for a day and someone wants to watch that, like that's how you do things, that's how you do it. But as soon as you start taking instructor approach or something, then the onus is on you, I think, for lots of that. I don't know if you have anything there, Jake.
I would say well, my whole standpoint about the whole influencer thing is, I tried to do it years ago and it just wasn't for me. Being with, all sorts of companies and being consistently on your phone and some people it works amazing. For me, I just felt like I was kind of distracted and pulled away from the actual passion behind it, always being on your phone, filming and whatever, which is, I mean, it's a cool thing, don't get me wrong, but for me, it wasn't great. But I definitely can see, like, especially if you're getting paid for it, and an amount of eyes you have on your videos and Instagram and all your stuff. So I would say, I don't necessarily say that they'd have to be held a higher standard per se, but you definitely need to, if it's a career, it should be professional. So there's always going to be that stand of like professionalism that needs to be on there. Like you don't want to be an influencer, just absolutely clubbing walleye and treating fish like disrespectfully and all that thing. So like, yeah, to per se, I would say you definitely need to be held, accountable and like, yeah, higher standards. Sure, you could call it whatever you want to call it, but for sure, if you're under the eyes of, hundreds of thousands of people, and plus you're doing it for a living, for sure, there's got to be something.
Yeah. I think the big thing too is disclosing if it's paid advertising, which I think you're supposed to do anyways. But like,
yeah,
prime example, and I don't know if this will bite me in the ass, but like when the big brands all came out with their first live scopes, and there was legitimately people that were saying that they were comparable to Garmin at the start. I'm like, I'm talking initial start when all of them put them out. I'm like, you got to be getting paid to say this, because I've seen them side by side working, and I know there can be a little bit different things with settings, whatever. To say that one was better than a Garmin, especially, I was like, there's some influence outside coming from this.
Yeah,
You're not disclosing that. Like I do think things have gotten way closer, and all the companies have gotten a lot better. But at the start there, when I was seeing posts on Facebook, I'm like, you have the picture side by side right now of these two, and you're telling me that this one is the same?
Yeah.
Like, no, not at all. But yeah, that's a big thing there. But no, that's good. And then we'll get into the last. I mean, we don't really tournament fish too much. So the one that Darian had here about tournament fishing with live scope, like you said, it's always a good conversation. I think it's all just generationally wise. There was a time when people didn't have sonar, then that came in. I'm sure people didn't like that. There was a time when the maps weren't a thing, that came in. People didn't like that. This has definitely changed the way people fish, and some of the guys that maybe have been around a lot longer don't like it. I do think some of the setups you see are crazy with the screens and whatever.
Six screens and it's crazy to think about that too, to think just even for the vast, like especially for tournaments, when now if they were to throw that implement in this day and age, it'd be like, okay, you can only have so many screens, or you're having a screen like a no forward facing tournament. Back like 50, 60 years ago, before any screens came out, like there was old guys that I used to talk to when I first started fishing that this is their kind of live scope. They'd throw a stick in the gill of a walleye they just caught, follow it, let it go, follow it with a 100-yard spool, and then go find where the school of walleye was and fish on top of it. Like that. That was like the old school live scope.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy to think how it's all evolved.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. And so I'd way rather have guys using forward-facing sonar than shoving sticks down walleye throats and tying balloons to them and shit.
Yeah.
Or you imagine, like, I know guys kind of figured out, but before the mapping and stuff, and there was those like dumbbells you'd throw out, right? And or if you put out, okay, I want to find where the 15 feet is, and you throw out enough of them, and then you can see where the break line. Yeah, like you imagine as a tournament, and everyone's tossing those out. It's like
you forget which buoy's yours. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
I'll say on this point, I was listening to another podcast again, and they had the president of the Bassmaster tour organization, whatever, on, and he said they did host tournaments that were no forward-facing sonar, and for views specifically, the tournaments that they hosted where forward-facing sonar was not allowed got less views than the tournaments that were allowed forward-facing sonar.
Wow.
So for them, like as a business standpoint too, they're probably never going to go to no forward-facing sonar because less people want to watch those tournaments. And this was done in 2024, I believe, is when that had happened. So
I guess it's evolution.
And especially if you're not fishing tournaments, like just because other people are using live scope, people caught fish before it, and you can go and do that too. It's not like they're taking away your fish necessarily, right? That this fish is like, oh, he's not using forward facing sonar, I'm not going to bite that hook. Yeah. So,
Not yet, anyway.
not yet.
Right.
It's coming.
And what one we're finishing on here? Something to do with lines?
I would love to talk about the line limit per angler.
Okay. So I guess to preface this, in Saskatchewan, it's 1 in the summer, right?
Yeah.
And 2 in the winter. Summer, I can't pay attention to more than 1, so I'm fine with 1 in the summer. I'm not river fishing much or anything, so not doing many like set lines or anything, so that kind of doesn't apply to me. I don't know if you want to cover that or just the ice.
Oh, I'd talk about both because like it drives me wild using just one line when I'm river fishing.
That's fair.
Or even like when I'm walleye fishing, I would love to be able to hang like a jig head and a leech in a rod holder beside me and then just cast and cover water with another. I mean, and then in the wintertime, like I go crazy when I'm fishing by myself and I can only have 2 lines and covering enough water. It's just
Yeah,
a huge
it's nice when you get
battle.
like 3 to 4 guys, and then you can really spread out.
Yeah, like
and
eight,
you can cover
eight
different
lines
parts.
is like really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And so I always come back and think to it of like, if I'm thinking of it as like a skilled angler where I know I can manage two lines or 3 or even 4. Like I know that I'm going to get to those tip ups and get them serviced efficiently, and like fish aren't going to be hanging on to dead baits for half an hour because I'm gone messing with other flags or vice versa. Like I know if I was river fishing, I'd be able to reel up my second line and fight the fish at the same time. Whereas maybe an angler who's not as proficient might struggle, and then I could see a scenario where fish could be dying. But like if our limit's 4 walleye and 5 pike anyway, like what's it matter what we do to obtain that limit? And if we're just fishing for fun anyway, I guess like the more fish you catch, the more mortality, or the mortality rate's the same, so you are essentially killing more fish. But I would love to be able to fish more than 2 lines. I'd love it, like legally be able to.
Yeah. I think you could. I mean, again, this is all our own experiences and us knowing that we could do that. Obviously, there's going to be someone's newer getting into it. They're going to have a lot more trouble running, say, if you could run 4 tip ups per person. Like, I mean, I do think some places are crazy. You see some of the charters going out there and it's like they've got a whole rainbow of rods going. And I mean, that could be necessary for the species they're targeting. So it works out that way. But like, I don't know. I think it could, if you wanted to do that, I think it could come with something like you get, like Manitoba used to have their conservation license where you couldn't keep as much. It was a cheaper license, couldn't keep as much. Maybe you could do something like that. Like for myself, I'm not using the extra lines to harvest more fish. Jesse, you did mention the mortality thing. If you want to use that, the number they suggest in the regs, but like I'm not using it to obtain or kill fish, I guess, harvest fish.
Yeah.
So for me, like you said, it's just for breaking down water more, having more of a spread, whatever. So I'm the same as you. I would love to. I get that there is the other side of the argument where, but other people might not have as good of an idea how to do it or how to do it properly, whatever. Totally get that. But yeah, like when you're sitting there and you're jigging, especially like you said, you're by yourself, you're jigging one in the shack and you're looking at your one tip up out there. It's like, oh, I would love to have one on the other side of me or whatever, right? Like that's a big thing. I would love to as well, but I'm sure there's some devil's advocates to the unintended consequences of that too. I don't know what Jake thinks. You gonna fly fish with 2 rods?
Yeah.
Without an indicator?
Oh yeah, you bet. No, the only devil's advocate that I'll play with that, and Jesse kind of touched on it, is it's about like the experience of the angler. Like you're not gonna go to a store as a first timer and be like, oh, what's the best way to catch pike on a tip up? And they'll be like, okay, so today I would recommend you buy 5 tip ups since you're allowed to use 5. Go set them all up in a row, 20 feet apart. And, as a new angler, you could barely deal with one line, let alone 5.
Yeah.
So that's the only downside, I would say, is possibility for fish mortality, like Jesse said.
Yeah.
But I can't be the devil's advocate, because I've been in that same situation where you're sitting, especially fishing by yourself. And here in BC is different. So like it's a gray area, because if you're fishing by yourself in a boat on a lake, you can use 2 lines. Would that be considered, and there's nothing in the regulations that stated, and I actually need to ask a conservation officer, is if you're on the ice by yourself, can you run 2 lines? So there's a lot of people that I know that are like, wow, it's the same as in a boat by yourself, just run 2 lines. I'm like, well, that's, a legality standpoint. But like, yeah, if you're fishing for pike and you're like, okay, even up it to 3.
Yeah, that'd be fine with 3.
I feel, as an angler myself, I feel pretty confident if I'm sitting in the hut jigging, or, even to have 4 potentially, because even you guys would probably agree, if you're sitting in a hut, you got 1, jig head and a minnow and 1 rattle bait, and you got 2 tip ups out, I feel like you have so much more confidence. That's like ideal.
Yeah.
Right? Where you're now limited to 1 tip up out and 1 in the hut, where especially if you have, like most of us probably would have multiple rods rigged up, especially if you're actively fishing a fish and you're like, instead of having to reel all the way up, depending on what, depth you're fishing, lake trout or whatever, reel all the way up, grab a different rod, where you could already have that other line down there.
Yeah.
Vice versa, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's...
To clarify, I'm not asking for 8 lines, just so the people listening know I'm not asking for 8. That'd be atrocious. Unlimited. But like 3 or 4, like you're saying, Jake, that would make me so happy.
Mm-hmm.
But then,
it would justify all the gear too.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Then even then, I could think of anglers that I'd be nervous to watch them try to manage 4 lines.
Oh God, it's nervous to watch them manage too.
For sure. I agree that 3, but then when Jake brings up the fact of like a jig and a minnow and then another bait you can work, that 4 would be nice. And maybe if there needs to be some caveat that if you're running this, you can only keep half, or you can't keep anything. That wouldn't bother me too much.
Or
but again,
switch it to barbless. That's where the barbless comes in. If you're running, say, okay, if you're running unattended lines, must be barbless. There's a way to slip that in to prevent mortality rate. Because realistically, if your hub is in the middle and you got 1 tip up 25 meters to the left and 1 tip up 25 meters to the right, as soon as you go access that other tip up, you're illegally too far from your other tip up. Are you not?
That's a good point.
I think they classify it as from your base, like whether that's your shack, your truck, your sleigh.
But regardless, let's say you're 25 meters and so now you're 50 meters from your other bait, which, for me, I'm a tall guy. I can run through the snow, no problem. But if you got short legs, if you got 1 fish on one and you got 1 fish on the other, and you're trying to deal with both, and then, it could get a little hectic, but then there's little increments like that, barbless hook, or it has to be a single barbless. That would,
And then I think a lot of us too, a lot, like we would, if we had fishing that good, we would probably pull the 3rd or 4th tip up and be like, okay, we're catching enough here. We don't need to bite off more than we chew, and then work down.
Once you're set up and you're on the spot of the spot. Yeah. But I think for searching, for sure, that having extra lines and distance. I've
been running jaw jackers at home for perch, and if there's 2 of us, we have 4 of them going. And it sometimes gets so bonkers that I'm like, I'm not even rebaiting the other one. Like, I'm tired of running back and forth here. So definitely have gone the other way too. So no doubt with that. But no, I think that's a good one. And I guess with that, this is us speaking from our experience, I think is a big thing there. And obviously we spend quite a bit of time doing it too. So that's kind of a big part too. And I'm sure we're missing some perspectives of someone who doesn't get out as much, or I'm sure there's lots of people that go out and they get their camp set up for the night and they're hanging in there watching TV or something. They might forget they even have a tip up out. Whereas it's very rare that I forget that there's a tip up out there, or forget to check it every however a couple minutes just to see if something's changed, right? But lots of times too in earshot anyway, so you hear it. But or in live scope shot, you can just move your live scope around and take a look at it. But
True.
yeah, so no, that's some things to consider there. But I know I'm sure some of the listeners have their opinions on that. So maybe we have to put up a story a little bit after this one's up and see what people thought about that and touch on that a little bit in another episode. But no, that was pretty well 2 hours here. So
I hope we hear back from some people, like whether they agree or disagree. Like I'd love to hear either side.
Yeah, definitely open to the discussion with that too. But no, do we have anything before we head into the intro here or outro?
I mean, so like I'd like to say, just to kind of close it all off, I mean, whether we're talking about any of these topics, forward-facing sonar, barbs, how many lines you're allowed, how many hooks we'd be allowed. At the end of the day, like catch and release fishing, we're just playing with our food. So it's like I'm kind of like on an internal battle with it right now, but I still love catch and release fishing. I'm going to continue doing it. But at the end of the day, like it's not the practices or the knowledge or the mapping or the live scope that kills fish. It's the anglers that kill fish. And so I think like we can only do the best of our ability and the best of our practices to ensure these fish are swimming away strong and we're not having bad impacts to our fisheries. I think we can have as much technology and as much advantages that we want because we all love fishing and that's why we're out there, is to enjoy it. And I want to continue to do that, but we just need to be doing the right thing. And it's kind of like that whole guns don't kill people, people kill people. Well,
fish don't catch fish.
Fish catch fish, kill fish.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's the tools that can make things easier, but in the end, it's still you doing it right. If I point my live scope at a fish, it doesn't clean it and put it in a Ziploc bag for me. I still gotta
not yet.
Right.
Not yet.
Yeah.
That's
right.
coming.
Yeah, it's not a one and done. No, that's a good point there. And Jake, you have anything else? Any thoughts to close it?
No, I think
just don't fish beads.
That's
it.
Yeah, just don't fish. Just don't be greasy. Don't fish beads.
That's fair. Well, thanks for joining us. Oh, go ahead. You got a caveat to that?
You can fish beads. Just don't call yourself a fly fisherman.
There you go.
Or say you're a fly fisherman who fishes beads. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, that's all good. We'll appreciate you coming on again, Jake, for this episode. This was a fun one. Just kind of discussing some of these topics. I'm sure we'll have some interesting takes as well back on it, and maybe there'll be another one we can do with some other topics here in the future. But yeah, we'll head into the outro here. So hope you guys enjoyed that episode. We've got 13 Fishing Canada to thank as the presenting sponsor for the show. Head over to the Rapala Canada website. Use the code Weekend Warriors. Save yourself 15% off. They do have tip-up rigs. They got tip-ups. They basically got everything going towards what we discussed in today's episode. So we'll keep that one short and sweet. We had this for almost 2 hours here. So hope everyone enjoyed that episode, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.